Really? So now, do you know the Muffin Man?
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
It's a good day for a good day. Sending big love in a big way, yeah.
Writer, director, and voiceover actor extraordinaire who's been involved in every single animated movie you know and love. Conrad Vernon is on the pod, everyone.
That's perfect.
Did I say it the way you wanted me to say it? I'm joking. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I know you're over in Texas with the family over there. I'm over here in LA, so I know we have a couple hour time difference. I'm going to start off with a question about Shrek. Do you know, if you counted up all of the movies, the TV shows, the video games, or playing yourself, talking about it, how many times were you involved with Shrek?
How many times?
Yes, all including movies, TV shows, video games, everything. How many times did you put the Shrek whatever on and talk about it somewhere, or acted in it, or directed it, or produced it? How many times? If you had to take a guess.
Don't tell him anything!
Including all the times I've talked about it, hundreds.
Well, I mean, on camera, I counted it as 19 times between the movies, the TV shows, the videos you've done, and then the video games. You think there's 6 video games also with all that, but that's incredible.
It was a big deal.
You were on the first one as a writer and a voiceover actor, right? You think you wrote some of Merryman?
Storyboard artist as well.
Oh, and yes. Well,
Storyboards, we do a lot of the writing as well.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in animation storyboards,
Okay.
sometimes you get a script, but there's always, you're always encouraged to come up with new gags, new ideas, new lines and stuff like that. So we take the script, and when we draw it out, we tweak it and we play around with it. And that's where I've done some writing.
Wow. Okay. So I never knew that, because I have a friend, J. Todd Anderson. You know J. Todd by any chance?
Mm-mm.
So he's a storyboard artist, but he does like all of the Coen brothers movies. So I didn't realize that in animation, when you storyboard artists, you also usually wind up writing. And then I'm assuming you start getting into the voiceover stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, in animation, it's different than live action. Live action and storyboarding is a lot like being a DP kind of. You're just like kind of coming up with shots and different camera moves and just kind of visualizing the script.
Right.
Animation, we basically take the script, and like I was saying, if we have a different line or a different little bit we want to put in, or we're also doing like visualizing the script, but we're also adding to it. So when I did the gingerbread man scene in the first Shrek,
Right.
basically there was no script for that at the time. It was just basically the directors telling me, we need, Farquaad to find out where they're hiding the fairy tale creatures. And they do that by torturing the information out of a gingerbread man.
Tell me, or I'll... No, not the buttons! Not my gumdrop button!
Really? So now, do you know the Muffin Man?
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
I do quite well. Yeah. So I basically just went back to my desk and I said, how do you torture a gingerbread man? Well, you probably dip him in milk, you break his little legs off, and and I just kind of wrote the scene based on that pitch.
You wound up directing the second Shrek. That made $930 million worldwide.
I know.
That's crazy.
Insane how much that.
That's insane. Now, I know that as the gingerbread man and all the other voiceover work you did, I'm correct that you don't get residuals as a voiceover actor?
You get residuals as a voiceover actor through SAG. Directors are not in the Directors Guild. Animation directors are not in the Animation
So wait a minute now.
Guild.
$930 million, Shrek 2, you directed it. You got no residuals from that.
No.
Come on.
For being the director. I got
You get it for the voice.
for voicing the gingerbread man.
Wow. That's crazy. Now, are you guys should probably, do your own strike and start getting compensated for that.
People have been trying to break that wall down for a while. There was a couple of guys that were trying to, get animation directors put into the Directors Guild for some reason. I have no idea what the reason is.
I don't know either.
Not allowed in.
You're still there directing people, in the booths. You're directing. You're still in charge of that movie in so many ways. I don't understand how they can say, no, No. I don't think even maybe because they're so successful and they're so lucrative that they're like, you got to figure out a way to one less way to pay people money because
I think that's probably it right there.
I think I nailed it there. So you started as a storyboard artist originally. Is that what you always wanted to do?
No, actually, I wanted to get into animation, but I love drawing. So I always pictured myself being an animator or a character designer or something where I could see what I drew up on the screen. I could actually watch my drawings on the screen. And I got my first job was with Cool World, and I did do a little bit of animating on that, and just was kind of an all around do everything guy. Ralph Bakshi taught me how to animate, how to do effects animation, how to do cleanup. He just basically taught me the ropes of animation.
Yeah.
My second job was on a TV show called Two Stupid Dogs, and I applied as a character designer. And the producer looked at my portfolio, and this is where you had to carry them around and give them to people.
Oh yeah.
And he said, I want to try you as a board artist. And I was just like, I was kind of bummed because I was like, well, now I'm not going to see my drawings on screen. But what I found out it was they gave you a paragraph that say the two stupid dogs sneak into the drive-in theater. And then they just said, go do whatever you want. And I got to write the episode, board it out, and then pin it up on a board and take a pitch stick is what we call it. And we pitch it. And so the better you can sell it, the more likely it is it's going to be on TV. So I go, oh my God, this is better than seeing my drawings on TV. I get to see my gags on TV, my shots on TV, which put me on the path to being a director. So when I pitched it and did all the sound effects and the dialogue and timing and everything, people were laughing and I was performing it. And I was like, wow, this is really fun. And I just was like, I love storyboarding.
I never knew all that, how that all goes like that. I never had any idea of that. So doing the voices, how do you personally come up with the voices? Do you look at the character? Do you have the same method each time, or what is it? Is it the same method each time? How do you do it when you come with the voices? Because you do voices in pretty much every movie that exists with voiceover.
Well, with Shrek, I boarded out the gingerbread man scene and I pinned it up and pitched it just like I just explained.
Yeah,
I told the story 1,000 times before. It's interesting how this comes about. There was a character that me and a friend of mine came up with about a little kid who was who's a little shy and very, very meek and scared of everything. And we always used to do that voice, this little voice here, that to do him, to do that voice. And I figured, well, that's kind of a funny voice to do for the gingerbread man. So when I got up to pitch it, I used that voice and everyone thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I did it in Scratch. Scratch dialogue is something you do when you're putting the boards into reels before the actor comes in.
Right.
So we had Scratch for Shrek, we had Scratch for Donkey, and I did the Scratch for the gingerbread man. And then they were going to go out and hire an actor a real actor to do it. And they couldn't find anyone to do that voice.
Yeah. And they liked yours so much, they're like, you do it.
Do this. Yeah. So they put me in SAG and I did the voice and that the rest is history, really.
So like in Madagascar, which you also have been in, do you know how many Madagascars you've been involved with the TV and film, whatever?
3 of them, I think.
All 3 of them, but then you add all the other videos, 9 again.
Yeah.
9, and then you did 5 of the video games on top of the 9.
I remember all the video games. Boy, those are tough.
Are they really hard to do? Is there a big difference between the video game and then the actual movie?
Well, you're just kind of saying, well, first of all, the number of lines you have to say for.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Sometimes there's like 130 lines, in one sitting, and none of them have any context.
Right. Oh, wow.
You're just saying, in a voice, run over there and pick up the stick.
Right.
Or in the next line you go down and you go, if you jump on that mushroom, it'll bounce you in the air. It's like you have no idea what this means.
Wow. I mean, I did voiceover myself. I was in this one animated movie called A Cat's Tale. I did 3 voices in that, and that was with like Michelle Rodriguez and Jeremy Piven and stuff a while ago. But we at least had the context of what we're doing in that movie.
In a show and a movie, you have context.
Yeah. But the video game.
You don't know what's going on because you're just a character telling the player what to do.
So why wouldn't they kind of say do it in 3 different ways? You know, go over there, and you know, why wouldn't they tell you to like?
That's kind of the what you do, you know, in animated stuff, you know, movies, TV. You do 3 takes.
Oh, you do, okay.
Action, and then you go do another 3 takes, and then you get a little direction, or they say this is great.
Oh, okay. Wow. And now you also went from being just a voiceover actor in Madagascar to writing and directing the 3rd one. Was that what it was? Madagascar 3?
Yeah, I was asked to be on Madagascar 3.
Was that Mason you also voiced in it? What was the character?
Mason, yeah, the monkey.
Yes, yeah.
That was a friend of mine, Tom McGrath, who directed the first 2, and we directed the 3rd one together. He came to me and he said, "You do that weird little James Mason impression. Can you do that for me?" I was just like, "Yeah, sure." So I went in and I did it, and he thought it was funny. So
yeah, exactly. Wow. That's good. It seems like it's I know the animated voiceover world. Wow, if you're in that, it's such a tight, like those ADR groups. Oh man, that's great to be in those things. Good for you. Because I know you're in. I heard this one thing about, and you don't have to confirm or deny, but somebody I knew had said that sometimes there's a movie that you have a big actress or a big actor, and they're doing reshoots, but then that person is not maybe available, or it's not part of the thing, and then they find another voiceover person who sounds exactly like them or as close as possible. Is that a true thing that people do, or not a true thing?
we try not to do that. I mean, I've never done that.
Right.
Basically, if we can't get the actor in, then basically what we'll do is we'll animate to the scratch track.
Right.
And then the actor, when we can get them in, we'll show them the animation, and they'll ADR it. They'll try and say the line with the lip sync. And there's some people who are really good at it, and some people who are not so good at it.
Exactly. It's just like lip syncing when you see people lip sync a song, and you're like, wait a minute, they're not even singing that song, you know? So yeah, you could definitely see that.
But in the reverse.
Exactly. Now, in Addams Family, the animated, I think there's 2 animated movies, and you were a writer and director on one, and I think a director and a producer on the other one of that.
I was a director and producer on both.
On both. Now, let me ask you this. Since the 60s, anybody who voiced Lurch, how many of those actors, how many were not on a Star Trek episode?
Oh, is this another trivia question?
Yeah. Basically.
Ask the question again, because I have no idea, but I can take a good guess.
Can you tell me who voiced it and never was on in a Star Trek episode? Well, it's you. Okay, they were like,
yeah, of course, I've not been in a Star Trek episode. I thought you were talking about other people who voiced Lurch.
No, I think that of the 3 people that have voiced it since the 60s, you are the 3rd one, and you had not been in any of the Star Trek.
3 have been on a Star Trek.
The other 2 have. The other 2 have been on at least one Star Trek movie or Star Trek TV episode at some point, but not you. So you need to get yourself on a Star Trek. There's a new Star Trek coming out, if it isn't out already. So maybe get on that so that all Lurches have been on a Star Trek.
Right. All right. I'll get to it.
Yeah. Hop on that. Now, you also did one of my favorites back in, I think, 2016. I'm not exactly sure. Sausage Party. You were the director and the producer, and like you did 6 voices, I think, on that one there. How do you get hooked up with Seth Rogen, and what's it like working with him?
Working with him and his partner, Evan Goldberg, and the 2 writers, Kyle Hunter and Ari Shafir. I love working with them. They're great because it's funny. You know it's going to be good. You don't have to worry about, the writing. You just know it's going to be funny, and it's very easy to add to. It's very easy to come up with gags and visual ideas and stuff with what they write, especially in animation.
Really? Yeah.
I connected with Seth on Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yes, you directed and produced that also, or you wrote and directed that one?
Directed and came up with the story for it.
Right.
He was Bob the Blob.
Yeah.
And while we were working on that, we got to know each other, obviously. So one day I'm driving in the car and I get a call from him, and he says, yeah, come over to the house. Me and Evan have something we want to pitch you. So I go over there, and it's him, Jonah Hill, and Evan Goldberg. and they said, we want to do an R-rated animated movie. And I've been wanting to direct a R-rated animated movie since I was 13. And yeah, I saw the movie Heavy Metal and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. I want to do that. And so this is a 13-year-old dream of mine. And before I was in before they even pitched it to me.
Oh, I can imagine.
They said it's a movie about a bunch of hot dogs that escape their packaging to go fuck buns. And that was pretty much all they had. And then, you know, the everything else came later when they wrote the script. But you know, I just said yes instantly. You know, I like I said, I was in before they even pitched it to me.
Yeah.
If I'm going to make an R-rated anime movie, these are the people to do it with.
These are definitely people to do it with. Now, isn't that now that movie being made into a TV series?
Yeah, that's what we're working on right now.
Is that Foodtopia?
Foodtopia. Yes, that's what it's called. A Sausage Party Foodtopia. It's developing a few other movies that hopefully will, you know, get greenlit. I've pitched them to a few places and they're interested. And yeah, I'm just kind of working on Sausage Party mainly right now.
Are you also doing the Rock, Paper, Scissors? Is that still coming out also in 2024?
I executive produced Rock, Paper, Scissors is coming out, Nickelodeon. That's really, really hilarious. It's a hilarious show.
Really? Because you did something that came from the movies. Isn't there one already made, or is it just a brand new one coming out?
It's brand new. It's about literally a rock, a piece of paper, and a pair of scissors as roommates.
It's great. It's great. Oh my God. And then I know this has also been around for a while, but is there any new traction on Jetsons?
No, not that I've heard of.
Because this is the time for that. Everything they talked about on the TV show is happening now. It's a perfect. It's like the time to go pitch it back to the studios again. Say, look, guys, we're going to have flying taxis taken to the airport within a couple of years. Did you hear about that, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I couldn't believe that. And I also, you know, Rosie was the first AI I've ever seen. So Rosie the robot,
Yeah, exactly. So much of that stuff has been like, you know, like when you look back at that, you watch it now, you're like, wait a minute, that's now. We had that, like, you know, so a lot of that stuff actually, they were ahead of their time.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little thing. I don't think it's in the movie anymore, but we had this idea of, you know, if the Jetsons are living in the sky, what's going on down on Earth? And so that was, you know, and there's a couple of theories I found out when I first started working on that and delving into the Jetsons lore. There are theories online about why they lived in the sky.
Oh, really?
Really interesting. Some are very dystopian. Some are very, in fact, all of them are.
What was the most fun animated movie that you ever worked on, that you had the most fun with?
Sausage Party, for sure.
It is Sausage Party. Of all of them, wow.
Hands down.
Hands down.
It was like, and not only was it, you know, it wasn't just because it was rated R, it was because it was really funny. I mean, dealing with these food characters with, you know, we got to use little rubber hose arms and legs with big white gloves, you know, old school cartoon characters. We could do anything we wanted. We didn't have to worry about offending anybody, obviously. Right. And to boot, we got to take it to South by Southwest and premiere it in front of an audience, like at 9 o'clock at night, when everyone's had a few drinks and they're all loose and ready to have a good time. And it was just a blast showing it to that audience.
Oh, that must have been amazing.
Everyone roared, and the Red Band trailer went out the next day and got huge hits. And it was just a roller coaster. It was so much fun. You know, it was great.
Aren't you in Austin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then when you do these, when you're doing Sausage Party or Rock, Paper, Scissors or these other movies, do you come back to LA for those? Do you go to New York, or do you stay there and do them?
Most things right now are remote.
So you can still do a whole movie
completely from home.
Really?
Yeah, we you know, Addams Family 1 came out in 2019, and it was a hit. And the studio immediately greenlit another one.
Right.
And as soon as we got started on the script, the pandemic hit. And so the script was ready to go like a month later, and we were like, do we sit around for God knows how long, or do we make this? And so everybody said, we're going to send everyone home. We're going to set them up with computers at their house. You know, I couldn't believe the animation vendor we were using. They figured all that out quickly. and everyone got on Zoom like this.
Yeah.
Would watch, storyboards, give notes. They would pitch. We'd give notes, and we'd go all through the processes of animation like this.
Yeah.
Sit, get on Zoom at 9:00 in the morning, and then you'd be on there until 6:00 at night. It got a little stir crazy.
Yes.
But we did it. We made that whole movie remotely.
Wow. Conrad Vernon, everyone. Thanks very much for being on the pod, bud. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me this time. Let's stay connected, and let me know when you're back in LA so you can come over to the house and you can have a party.
I would love that.